Alaska is a land of extremes, where the natural world is as breathtaking as it is unforgiving. Towering mountains draped in snow and ice stand like silent, frozen sentinels, their jagged peaks cutting into the sky. Glaciers stretch endlessly across the horizon, vast rivers of ice that seem to move with a slow, unyielding inevitability. Above them, the northern lights dance in ghostly greens, purples, and blues, shimmering across the dark winter sky in a spectacle that is both mesmerizing and otherworldly. Yet beneath this majestic and seemingly untouchable beauty lies a hidden, often overlooked reality. The daily struggle of Alaska's homeless population, a battle waged in silence and invisibility. Winters here are merciless. Temperatures plunge far below 30 degrees Celsius, and the sun retreats for months, leaving behind a long, oppressive darkness that stretches across the land like a shadow that refuses to lift. In such conditions, survival becomes a daily challenge rather than a given. Hundreds of Alaskans are forced to sleep outdoors, huddled in fragile tents, abandoned vehicles, or thin, worn sleeping bags, exposed to snow, ice, and bone-chilling winds that pierce every layer of clothing. The cold gnaws at their bodies relentlessly, turning fingertips and toes to ice, stiffening limbs, and sapping energy. Every year, lives are claimed by the unforgiving frost, a stark reminder that homelessness in Alaska is not merely a reflection of economic hardship, but a relentless, high-stakes struggle for survival itself. A documentary about the homeless seeks to go beyond these chilling statistics, giving a voice to the human stories hidden within them. It captures the tireless negotiation with the elements, the careful planning to avoid hypothermia, the relentless search for food, the constant movement required to stave off frostbite, and the quiet endurance of those who face despair in isolation. Each person living without shelter carries an extraordinary mixture of courage, desperation, and fragile hope, holding on to the belief that one day the sun will return to bring warmth, safety, and a measure of dignity. Theirs are stories of resilience written in frozen hands, sleepless nights, and eyes that have seen both the cruelty and beauty of an unforgiving land demanding empathy, understanding, and recognition from those who witness them. Overview of the homelessness crisis in Alaska. Alaska's vast and rugged geography magnifies the challenges of homelessness, transforming what might be a temporary hardship elsewhere into a daily, often life-threatening struggle for survival. With a sparse population spread across sprawling wilderness, many homeless individuals live in near-complete isolation, sometimes miles from the nearest neighbor, clinic, or source of aid. The sense of remoteness amplifies the difficulties they face. Simple necessities like food, warmth, or medical attention become monumental obstacles. Anchorage, the state's largest city, is home to nearly half of Alaska's homeless population, yet the crisis is far from contained within urban borders. In smaller towns such as Bethel, Nome, and Dillingham, homelessness often remains hidden. Families crammed into a single, overcrowded room, elderly relatives sharing what little space they have, or individuals taking refuge in abandoned cabins and neglected structures. To outsiders, these situations may appear invisible, but behind the quiet perseverance of those affected lies a daily struggle for survival. Indigenous communities face pressures compounded by historical and systemic factors. Multi-generational households are common, with families often sharing the smallest of spaces to shield one another from the brutal cold. In these circumstances, homelessness is rarely about sleeping on the street. It is a constant negotiation to keep loved ones safe, maintain dignity, and navigate life amid scarce housing and long-standing marginalization. Every frozen night spent huddled together, every small gesture to protect a child from frostbite, speaks to resilience that often goes unnoticed. A documentary about the homeless brings these hidden realities into sharp focus, capturing the quiet heroism and extraordinary resilience that persist even in the harshest conditions. It reminds viewers that survival in Alaska is not just about having shelter. It is a complex, unending negotiation with isolation, extreme weather, and the unforgiving challenges of the landscape. Through storytelling, audiences can witness the courage and determination of those living on the margins and begin to understand that behind every unseen struggle lies a profoundly human story of endurance, hope, and survival. Causes of homelessness. Understanding homelessness in Alaska requires looking far beyond surface-level explanations into the intricate and interconnected factors that push people to the brink of survival. Skyrocketing housing costs leave few affordable options, forcing many families and individuals into overcrowded apartments, unsafe dwellings, or makeshift shelters that offer little protection from the relentless cold. Seasonal employment adds another layer of instability. Wages can fluctuate dramatically throughout the year, leaving households unable to plan for even basic necessities like food, heating, or transportation. The absence of comprehensive healthcare and mental health services further compounds these struggles, leaving vulnerable populations with limited avenues for treatment or support. For many, substance abuse and untreated mental illness intensify this cycle, making it nearly impossible to regain stability without external intervention. Indigenous populations carry the heaviest burdens. Centuries of historical injustices, the loss of ancestral lands, and systemic poverty have created deep-rooted barriers that continue to limit access to resources, opportunities, and culturally sensitive support. These conditions are not random or isolated. They are the cumulative effect of structural inequities that have shaped the realities of entire communities over generations, perpetuating cycles of hardship and marginalization. A documentary about the homeless brings these causes to life, turning abstract statistics into vivid human narratives. It portrays, for instance, a mother weighing the impossible choice between spending a night in a freezing tent or risking her child's health, or a man forced to decide between purchasing food or paying rent, each choice fraught with life-altering consequences. Through such stories, the documentary illuminates the profound human cost of Alaska's homelessness crisis, reminding viewers that behind every number is a life shaped by circumstance, courage, and a desperate hope for stability. Life outdoors in extreme weather. Life outdoors in Alaska is a relentless and unforgiving struggle, where every day and night pushes the limits of human endurance to extremes few can imagine. Blizzards sweep across towns and wilderness alike, their fierce winds slicing through layers of clothing, turning even the sturdiest coat into inadequate protection. Snow piles high enough to trap or obscure a person's path, and drifting ice can render streets and trails impassable. The long, unbroken winter darkness stretches on for months, draining not only physical energy, but also hope, making even the simplest tasks, finding food, gathering firewood, or navigating a path to shelter, into exhausting and dangerous endeavors. Those without homes must keep moving constantly to retain body heat, balancing exhaustion against the ever-present threat of frostbite and hypothermia, conditions that strike 8 times more often among the homeless than the housed. The physical toll is immediate, brutal, and visible. Fingers and toes crack and bleed from exposure, shoes freeze into solid blocks of ice, and faces grow hollow from hunger, fatigue, and despair. Every night becomes a confrontation with mortality. Survival is measured not by comfort, but by a series of urgent, life-preserving decisions. When to rest and risk freezing, when to keep walking to stave off the cold, when to search desperately for any semblance of shelter. There is no reprieve from the struggle. Every moment demands courage, resilience, and a will to continue despite the odds. A documentary about the homeless brings these stark realities into sharp focus, portraying the fear, determination, and quiet heroism of those enduring Alaska's extreme conditions. Through vivid storytelling, it allows viewers to witness the extraordinary human strength required to navigate a landscape that is at once beautiful and brutal, to survive nights so cold that every breath feels like fire in the lungs, and to persevere when even the simplest comforts of warmth and rest are unavailable. It is a testament not only to the resilience of the human spirit, but also to the urgent need for compassion, intervention, and understanding in the face of such relentless hardship. A silent threat in the coldest. Amid Alaska's harsh and unforgiving climate, an even darker and often invisible threat silently spreads through its homeless population: fentanyl. For those already struggling to survive in freezing temperatures, the drug can offer a fleeting sense of warmth, a temporary reprieve from the relentless cold that gnaws at both body and spirit. But this temporary comfort comes at a deadly cost. Fentanyl is a silent killer, claiming lives in remote corners of the state where hospitals or emergency care may be hours or even days away. In small, isolated villages, families may not discover that a loved one has passed until long after the tragedy, layering grief upon isolation and compounding the despair of those left behind. Winter only intensifies this silent crisis. Snowdrifts block roads, sub-zero temperatures make travel perilous, and emergency services, already stretched thin, are often unable to respond in time. Overdoses spike, leaving countless individuals without the help that could save them. These are not mere statistics. Each death represents a human life abruptly cut short, a life filled with dreams, ambitions, and the hope of survival, now extinguished by a combination of environmental extremes and systemic neglect. Including these grim realities in a documentary about the homeless does not sensationalize tragedy. Rather, it sheds light on the hidden dangers and profound vulnerabilities faced by those living without a safe, stable home. It reminds viewers that survival in Alaska is a fragile, precarious thread, threatened not only by harsh weather, but also by forces, social, economic, and medical, that society often overlooks. Through such storytelling, audiences are called to witness the urgent, human consequences of neglect, and to recognize the courage required simply to endure each day in a world where safety and warmth are never guaranteed. Health and mental health risks. In Alaska's harsh and unforgiving environment, the toll on both physical and mental health is relentless and immediate. Frostbite and hypothermia are constant threats, seizing fingers, toes, and sometimes entire limbs within minutes if the cold is severe enough. Minor cuts and injuries can quickly become infected, and untreated illnesses spread rapidly among those with little or no access to medical care. The long, sunless winters inflict an equally devastating impact on the mind, contributing to deepening depression, crushing feelings of hopelessness, and a sense of despair that can feel inescapable. For many, alcohol and opioids become desperate coping mechanisms, offering fleeting warmth, numbness, or escape from isolation. But these temporary reprieves often carry devastating consequences. By early 2025, more than 350 deaths were linked to opioid use alone, a stark and tragic testament to the lethal intersection of substance abuse and Alaska's extreme environment. Yet, even amid such grim realities, glimmers of hope endure. Volunteers brave icy streets, snow-blocked roads, and treacherous trails to deliver blankets, hot meals, and emergency supplies to those who might otherwise be forgotten. These acts of care are far more than charity. They provide vital human connection, a tangible reminder that someone sees, acknowledges, and cares. Each small gesture can carry immense significance, preserving not only life, but also dignity, a sense of worth, and a fragile feeling of belonging in a world that can otherwise feel overwhelmingly hostile and indifferent. A documentary about the homeless brings these interventions to life, illustrating the profound power of human compassion and community action. By highlighting these efforts, the documentary shows that even temporary relief can ripple outward, offering hope, warmth, and recognition to those who might otherwise be invisible. At the same time, it challenges viewers to reflect on their own roles in a society where survival often hangs by the thinnest of threads, and to consider how empathy, advocacy, and small acts of care can make a life or death difference. Relief organizations and their roles. Across Alaska, a network of dedicated organizations works tirelessly to bridge the yawning gaps left by geography, poverty, and systemic neglect, creating lifelines for those facing unimaginable hardships. The Anchorage Coalition to End Homelessness coordinates data, resources, and personnel to strategically identify and reach those most in need, ensuring that no one falls through the cracks when every hour can be a matter of survival. Rural CAP takes to the skies, flying into remote villages, often inaccessible by road for weeks at a time, delivering critical supplies and support to populations who might otherwise go completely unseen. Covenant House Alaska focuses on at-risk youth, offering not just shelter, but guidance, mentorship, and a pathway towards stability that can change the trajectory of a young life. Meanwhile, Brother Francis Shelter provides more than just beds. It offers hot meals, warm spaces, and a temporary reprieve from the biting cold, transforming mere survival into moments of human dignity. Organizations like United Way, YWCA, and Gospel Rescue Mission extend crucial support to women, individuals struggling with addiction, and those with no other refuge, filling essential gaps where other social systems fail. Together, these groups form a lifeline, a carefully woven and resilient network of support in a state where isolation can be deadly and survival is never guaranteed. Their work demonstrates that structured, compassionate interventions do far more than meet immediate needs. They save lives, restore dignity, and cultivate hope in the most desperate circumstances. Each blanket handed out, each warm meal served, and each volunteer's visit carries weight far beyond its immediate function, sending a message that someone sees, acknowledges, and cares. Even in Alaska's harshest environments, these efforts prove that human connection and organized care can make a profound and lasting difference, transforming vulnerability into resilience and despair into a tangible sense of hope. Efforts to address the crisis. Programs such as Housing First provide a concrete and humane path toward addressing Alaska's persistent homelessness crisis, placing immediate emphasis on safe, stable housing while following up with supportive services designed to help individuals regain stability and rebuild their lives. During the bitter, unyielding winter months, hundreds of Alaskans have been placed into shelters or temporary homes, a seemingly small intervention, yet one of profound significance in a state where survival can hinge on warmth, shelter, and basic human care. Still, the demand for housing far exceeds availability, particularly in Fairbanks and smaller, remote towns, leaving many to face freezing temperatures, long nights, and the relentless uncertainty of life outdoors. In response, innovative and adaptive initiatives are emerging across the state. Insulated modular homes engineered to withstand shifting permafrost and the extreme freeze-thaw cycles provide durable and long-term shelters in areas once deemed uninhabitable. Teams of volunteers traverse deep snow, treacherous ice, and snow-blocked trails to reach remote villages, bringing vital supplies and human contact to those who might otherwise remain isolated for weeks. Tribal-led programs integrate cultural knowledge with practical support, ensuring that interventions are both effective and respectful of local customs and traditions. Each of these initiatives illustrates that meaningful change is possible when communities combine resources, planning, and empathy with ingenuity and commitment. A documentary about the homeless brings these efforts to life, capturing in vivid detail the intersection of resilience, creativity, and compassion. It shows viewers that even in Alaska's most extreme conditions, hope persists, and human ingenuity can transform despair into tangible progress. The documentary highlights how coordinated action and thoughtful interventions provide more than mere shelter. They restore dignity, renew a sense of purpose, and offer individuals a chance to envision a future beyond survival, one where safety, warmth, and opportunity are not distant dreams, but attainable realities. Conclusion: humanity and home. Alaska's landscapes are breathtaking in their grandeur, yet as beautiful as they are unforgiving and often merciless to those without shelter. Beneath towering glaciers, across endless frozen tundra, and under the shimmering spectacle of the northern lights, a harsh reality persists. Countless individuals face nights so cold that survival itself becomes a monumental challenge. Each person enduring homelessness is far more than a statistic. They carry stories of resilience, loss, sacrifice, and fleeting moments of hope. In this frozen expanse, the simplest acts, a warm blanket wrapped tightly, a steaming meal shared, a safe place to sleep for a single night, become luminous beacons, small yet profound gestures that cut through the darkness and remind people that they are seen, valued, and not forgotten. A documentary about the homeless urges viewers to confront their own discomfort, to look past numbers, and to recognize the humanity behind every story. It poses essential questions. What does home truly mean? How can society ensure that everyone, regardless of circumstance, has a place to call their own? These are not abstract concepts. They are urgent moral challenges that demand reflection and action. The crisis in Alaska is far from isolated. It mirrors broader societal responsibilities, reminding us that homelessness anywhere reflects a collective failure to protect the most vulnerable. While the cold may be unrelenting, human compassion is enduring. Through storytelling, empathy, and deliberate, coordinated action, despair can be transformed into hope, and lives can be preserved, restored, and empowered. Every life touched, every hand extended, every warm meal delivered is a testament to the strength of community and the resilience of the human spirit. One life at a time, society can ensure that the warmth, safety, and dignity of home are not privileges for the few, but a basic right for all, a place where hope survives even in the harshest of winters.